Jimin was rushed to the military hospital early this morning in a shocking condition. And what was even more shocking, Jungkook, his fellow soldier in mandatory military service, was seen openly crying in front of other soldiers, a rare sight from the idol who is known for his calmness and strength. A big question hangs in the air. What exactly happened behind this sudden incident? And why has this moment become the center of world attention? Internal sources from the military unit where both of them serve revealed that Jimin had shown signs of extreme fatigue for the past few days. Despite this, he continued to refuse the medical team's advice to rest. He didn't want to appear weak, said a soldier who wished to remain anonymous. He felt responsible, especially to Jungkook. That attitude may be honorable, but it's risky. Symptoms of prolonged headaches, mild nausea, and fluctuating blood pressure, according to internal medical reports, had been experienced by Jimin for almost a week. But on Monday night at 11:47 p.m. local time, his body gave in. He fainted in the middle of the field after intense physical training. A situation initially considered trivial changed completely when Jimin didn't regain consciousness. The military instructor team immediately called an ambulance, and within minutes, Jimin was taken to the nearest military hospital. This is where emotions erupted. Several eyewitnesses said that Jungkook was seen running alongside the stretcher carrying Jimin to the ambulance. He held his friend's hand, and what made everyone silent, he cried. Not a little, uncontrollably. He wiped his tears with his military uniform, repeatedly, in front of everyone. Jungkook never cries. Even in the toughest training, he always stood tall, said one of their colleagues. But that night, he was truly fragile. And everyone knew this wasn't tears from exhaustion. It was because of the fear of losing him. Jimin regained consciousness in the ambulance and could only say, "I'm fine, just a little dizzy." But the military doctor didn't want to take any risks. He immediately underwent an EKG, 24-hour blood pressure monitoring, and intensive observation. This news spread quickly, faster than any official statement. In less than 4 hours, the hashtags #GetWellSoonJimin and #ProtectJimin became global trends on X, formerly Twitter, with over 2 million tweets from around the world. Fans from various countries demanded transparency about Jimin's condition and called on the agency and the military to prioritize the safety of their member. Interestingly, the public reaction wasn't just because their idol was sick. It was about friendship, human exhaustion, and vulnerability that had been hidden behind the glamorous facade. Jungkook crying wasn't just an emotional moment. It was a picture of the fact that even stars like BTS are still human. A military doctor who wished to remain anonymous said, Jimin's condition points to symptoms of systemic fatigue and prolonged stress. If not treated properly, this can lead to neurological and cardiovascular complications. Jungkook reportedly asked for permission to accompany Jimin at the hospital that night, but his request was denied due to military protocol. However, he continued to request updates on Jimin's condition every hour. That night, said one officer, was the quietest night in the history of the barracks. There was no sound, as if everyone was praying for him. The next morning, Jungkook returned to the barracks with swollen eyes. He didn't talk to anyone. No complaints, no expressions. He just stood tall during the morning roll call, his head bowed. But all the soldiers understood this wasn't the time to ask questions. News of Jimin's stable condition emerged a few hours later. He would undergo 3 full days of observation and be temporarily exempted from all military activities. The military is considering the possibility of transferring him to a specialized health unit for optimal recovery. As of this writing, Big Hit Music has not released an official statement, but industry sources say they are preparing an announcement to reassure the public. However, amidst the world's spotlight on this incident, a big question remains unanswered. Did all of this really happen as reported? Or are we being drawn into a vortex of narratives that may not be factual? It should be noted that so far, there's been no official confirmation from Big Hit Music or the Republic of Korea's military regarding this incident. What is circulating are just short video clips on TikTok, emotional tweets from fans on Twitter, and speculative video recordings on YouTube. All the information that is now fueling mass sympathy comes from unofficial media and accounts without clear identities. Therefore, an important question arises. How much can we trust narratives that have not been verified? Are we becoming part of a game of perception, where public emotions are deliberately manipulated? Is it possible that the visuals of Jungkook crying are just part of an old video that was cut, edited, and given a dramatic narrative? Or even do we want to believe in this story just because we feel emotionally connected to these idols? This is a reflective point that we need to think about together. Because it cannot be denied, in this fast-paced digital era, emotions often override logic. We are so easily touched by tears, hugs, or parting words, even though we don't even know if that moment actually happened at the time and context reported. Why are we so quick to believe things that touch our hearts, but often neglect to check the source of the news? This is the time for us to ask ourselves, does the video come from a credible source? Is the narrative about Jimin collapsing actually supported by official medical reports? Did Big Hit Music issue a statement that strengthens all these claims? And more importantly, who benefits from this story going viral? Is social media a tool for sympathy or a field of sensation? Could certain parties be deliberately spreading this story to boost views, clicks, or increase public attention to their platform? Let's be honest, the entertainment industry has long realized that public emotions are the new currency. And when Jungkook's tears are made into a headline, it's not impossible that it's being used as a tool to achieve maximum engagement. Then, what about us as information consumers? Are we simply passive viewers who swallow every piece of news without asking, or should we start becoming critical audiences? We are invited to feel emotions, but we must also be able to discern what is truly factual and what is just sensationalism. Another question that is no less important. If Jimin really collapsed due to military and emotional pressure, why hasn't a single South Korean national media published an investigative report? Why is this information only circulating on fandom accounts, TikTok, and speculative YouTube channels? Are we actually just watching a script that has been curated to make us cry, care, and finally click more? And if this is just a narrative illusion, how far does our responsibility as viewers go? Are we also guilty of spreading unverified information? Have we become part of the chain of spreading speculation? We are not saying that this incident is definitely a hoax. It could be true, and we should sympathize. But shouldn't sympathy also be accompanied by caution in absorbing information? We live in an era where truth can be disguised very convincingly. And this is the time for us to ask, is our care all this time built on truth or on a narrative designed to make us feel care? If we truly care about Jimin, Jungkook, and BTS as humans, not just as public figures, then the best form of care is not to swallow unverified information raw. We must be the last bastion against the flood of viral information that often blurs the line between reality and perception. To the army and readers, we want to invite you to stop for a moment and reflect. How did you feel when you heard this news? Did you immediately believe it, or did you wonder in your heart, is this real? Do you feel angry because maybe this is just a social media fabrication? Or do you feel scared? Because if this is true, then your idol's health is at great risk. All those feelings are valid. But let logic go hand in hand with emotion. We must not be swept away by a current that may not lead us to the truth. We must be a smart digital generation, one that is not easily swayed by tears, but also not cold to humanitarian issues.